Hey, what's up, guys? I want to answer a question that I get asked all the time. And no matter how many times I answer it, it's hard for me to really be clear in a short message or in a concise way. Now, the question is, does a Kydex holster scratch the finish on my gun, cause excessive wear, this, that, or the other thing? Now, I want to say this, I want to try to put all of this into one video, my whole mentality here. Now, a properly made Kydex holster won't cause excessive wear on your gun in and of itself. What can happen is that if, for instance, there's a point of restriction or excessive friction inside the holster, that will cause friction. And what's most likely to happen is, since Kydex is relatively soft and easy to scratch compared to steel or the finish on your gun, what can happen is that the Kydex can get a little bit rough, or you can start creating debris inside the holster, and the friction between the debris, the gun, and the holster, it becomes sort of like a sanding medium, and that can cause wear. Like, for instance, if you don't ever relieve the ejection port area on your holster, every time that has to overcome the sharp edge of the ejection port, you're going to peel a little bit of the Kydex off. That's going to get trapped in between the gun, between the slide of the gun and the holster, and you're going to start to develop a wear pattern. The advantage of a Kydex holster is that you can rinse it out. Multi-Holsters has a great video on how to care for your Kydex holster. Just rinse it out with dish soap and warm water, and it's good to go. So the holster itself, Kydex as a material, is not stronger than your gun or the finish on your gun. Kydex itself does not have any inherently damaging property to your gun. That's that. You can clean it, it's easy to service, it's easy to maintenance, and you know what? If you watch these videos, you can see that it's pretty easy to build them right, too. So there's not really a whole lot of excuse for having a holster that's going to cause, repetitive, deliberate wear on the gun. Now, that being said, friction between any two objects over a period of time will cause wear. I don't care if it's the inside of a Ferrari engine that's constantly lubricated by expensive motor oil and is made of unobtainium incredible parts. You rub two things together, you're going to get wear. Period. End of story. There's no, for all intents and purposes, there's nothing's totally free of friction in this world. You can minimize it. You can take steps to, you clean out your Kydex holster constantly and deliberately, and every day. If you've got like shirt lint inside your holster, you clean it out, rinse it out, dry it off, and then you can rub your gun with a one of those like silicone cloths and make sure it's really nice and smooth. You can do that, or you can be like me and you can have a slightly different philosophy. If you want a cushy, lazy boy, perfect, pristine, immaculate, flawless environment for your gun, it's called a safe. And you put your gun in the safe and you leave it there, and it's going to be perfect forever. Or you can choose to carry a gun every day as a tool for self-defense and select your gear based around that. Now, I'm not ever going to say that, there's nothing wrong with a leather holster. Leather holsters are comfortable. Leather holsters can be a little bit sort of softer in some ways on a gun, but then again, a leather holster doesn't have the same capabilities as a Kydex holster, period. A leather holster is going to stretch and collapse and break in over time, and it's going to become softer and more comfortable for you to wear, but that's going to change the draw stroke. You're going to have the material inside the holster can break down over time. The characteristics of that holster are going to change, and there are certain things that are much harder to do with a leather holster than with a Kydex holster. Kydex holster is an integral part of your weapon system. Your belt, your sights, your light, your holster, your gun, the magazines. It's the weapon system, and it's how you deploy your sidearm. Select your gear based on what you want to get out of that system. Now, I'm of the opinion, and this is going to sound a little bit harsh, that if you're carrying a gun that doesn't already have wear on it from training, then you haven't trained with it enough to be carrying it as a life-saving tool, either for your life or somebody else's. If you are not so familiar with that gun that it already has you know, slide wear from all the draws that you've done on it, marks from the weapon manipulation, if you haven't run the gun as hard and as fast as you can, in as many circumstances as you can, then are you really prepared to be carrying it? And if it's too precious an object for you to put it through that abuse, is it now too precious for you to get sweat and potentially blood on it? You know, maybe somebody else's blood? What if you're, you know, in a vehicle and you know, you get broken glass all over your gun, you have to drop it on the concrete, you know, you bang it in a doorway or something. The precious gun that, you know, oh, I don't know if I can really put it through all of that. Are you willing for that gun to be locked up in a police evidence locker somewhere? What if it comes back with like a number engraved on it or some crazy crap like that? Is that the precious gun you want to be carrying? Granted, it's totally legitimate to carry a very expensive gun. A high quality gun, you know, it's going to be hopefully a reliable and accurate tool. And if that's the kind of reliability and accuracy that you demand, that's what you demand. And by all means, carry the most expensive gun you want to carry. But you also have to be prepared that you're going to have a violent encounter with that gun, and it might be a long time before you get it back. It might get damaged. You're going to get, you know, your fluid, somebody else's fluid, and, you know, dropped on the concrete. It's going to get screwed up. And hopefully, you're putting a lot of wear on that gun from all the rounds every month that you're putting on it. Now that's my spiel, right? If you're concerned that a Kydex holster may potentially cause excessive wear on your gun, then don't carry that gun. And if you're not prepared to put excessive wear on your gun through training, if you're not prepared to shoot the gun until it needs new parts, if you're not prepared to, you know, potentially make modifications to that gun so that you can run it harder and faster, then maybe a holster is the least of your concerns. Kydex holster has a variety of benefits over a leather holster. For instance, it's extremely rigid, which allows you to, you know, tap, rack one-handed with your holster. If you're not willing to go through these kinds of drills, you know, with your gun, put your gun and your holster through that kind of abuse, train one-handed, and rely on this system to save your life, holster wear is not your primary concern here. That's my spiel. To wrap it up, the holster itself isn't going to cause excessive wear unless it's made in such, you know, if you have a holster that's causing excessive wear on your gun, chances are it also is binding in such a way that it's not a well-made holster. If every time you draw there's a snag or a drag or a shred, then it's not, then there's something else wrong with it, right? And that design flaw is causing wear. As long as you have one that's built correctly, has a nice smooth draw, and you clean it, it's going to be fine. And it's not going to cause any more wear than your training regimen should already be putting on your gun. So that's Kydex holster wear in a nutshell. If you have any further questions, you know, feel free to contact me at PhillyEDC@gmail.com. Check us out at facebook.com/PHLster, PHLster, and PHLster.com for custom Kydex holsters.